Welcome back to Blatantly Honest with Makaila Nichols. Today, I spoke with Brandi Benson. She is a true warrior. At just 24, she decided to serve our country and was just half a year into training when she was deployed to Iraq. Brandi soon learned that she had a deadly form of cancer called Ewing Sarcoma and was given what was basically a death sentence, but against all odds, she beat it. However, they had to cut out a portion of her leg, and she was told that she would never run again. Fitness is what got Brandi through her darkest of times, and again, she proved everyone wrong. Today, she's a motivational speaker and author of the book The Enemy Inside. Welcome, Brandi. People are going to learn a lot from you. Start at the very beginning, your childhood, maybe there, or if you think that's a good starting point, or maybe when you knew that you wanted to serve our country.
Oh, right. So I grew up in California, Northern California. I was born in Southern California. Growing up, I played tons and tons of different sports: basketball, soccer, softball, ice skating, gymnastics, volleyball, you named it. I played it and I did really, really well at it. And I was like super athletic. And I had an uncle, his name was Brian, or his name is Brian, he's still alive. And he was in the Navy. And so I had a cousin Desi, a cousin Jordan, and they were the kids of my aunt and my uncle. And we would go to all these really fun little block dances and block parties. And I just see people in the military, and they were working out all the time. They were in shape. There was a commissary. It was like their own little world on there. And I just fell in love with like the whole concept of, just serving your country. And then they're really pro family, and there's military discounts. I was just like, oh my God, this is cool. Like, who
Sounds great.
doesn't want to? Yeah, I'm like, this would be awesome. I'm like, and you have to work out all the time. Like, I loved just being active. And then I knew that you could be on like an all army team, so basketball or soccer, and that could be your job. So that was like another really cool point that I thought maybe one day I would like to be in. But I really fell in love with like the whole concept of it when I was like in third grade, when I was just seeing everything. And they lived on base and they had to show their IDs. I just really liked the whole concept of it being kind of like secretive, like you can't get on here without ID, and you get to serve your country, and you get to play lots of great sports, and it's really fun for the kids. And I just thought it was just so cool. So I kind of just then from like third grade was like, okay, if I don't know what I'm going to do when I get older, I'll always just join the military. Or, if I didn't join the military, that was always like, I wanted to do it, but I was kind of scared because you go to war.
Yeah, that's
right.
a scary thing to think about.
Oh my gosh. So I was like, that will be something I want to do, but it was kind of like, not really like the back burner, just kind of like,
There.
we'll see, if I'm still like brave enough to do it, because I was so scared of going to war. I just thought that would be the most scary thing. And then it happened. So we'll talk about that. So, I always wanted to, but I was a little hesitant about, because going to war and you're hearing all the war stories and PTSD and just scary stuff. So third grade, I loved it, wanted to do that. Then I started realizing I was really good at sports. So then I was like, I want to play soccer, I want to play basketball, I want to play in the Olympics. So something with sports was always really big for me as well. In 2000, we moved from California to Hawaii. And I lived in Hawaii for about 6.5 years, and it was amazing. The water's blue. It always smells like flowers. It's like surfing, and food is great. And I really loved that as well. Then my father ended up dying out of nowhere when he was 36.
Oh,
he had to I know. And I'm 36 right now, so I can't imagine being 36 years old and dying. Oh my gosh, that's just terrible. But he ended up passing away really, really young age. And then I kind of just lost my passion for, playing sports. And I don't know.
How old were you when this happened?
I was 16. So like 20 years ago. I was really devastated. I was very sad about that. So he ends up passing away and dying like mysteriously out of nowhere. No one knows how he died. They found him on a couch. He was by himself. It was during Christmas time. Like, he died right after, I think it was right before Christmas. And they only knew about it because there were gifts and Christmas gifts outside his door that were still there days after Christmas, days later. So they finally figure out that something's wrong. They go in there and, they discover the body and stuff. So after that happened, life took a total turn. I went from living this like really blissful, happy, great life to now, So that was my biological father that passed away. My stepfather was the one who was with us in Hawaii. So he ends up leaving my mother with 3 dogs, 2 kids, all the bills and everything. So we are struggling to like make ends meet.
Oh my
It
God.
it was so stressful. And this is my senior year at this point. We're trying to survive. Things are just getting really hard. My mother's working tons and tons of hours. She just can't manage and keep up with all these bills that keep coming in. So the lights are getting turned off. The car's going to get repoed. We have to get evicted from a house. We are so poor that we can't even afford food off the 99-cent menu at Burger King. So we lived outside of this military installation, and we were friends with people in the military. So they bring over MREs. Do you know what those are?
I don't.
They're called meals ready to eat. And so that's when you get deployed somewhere, or you're in the military and you're like stranded and there's no food. They give you these little boxes, and they're literally it's like camp food. So it's like soup in it. There's crackers, but it's all like finely packed and lots of sodium, so it's preserved really well. So we're eating that for months and months and months and months. I know, it was just crazy. So then,
and you're 16 and like,
and this is 17 now, but senior year. But so now I realized that maybe the military is something I should probably do, because like I can't live like this. This is too hard. This is just too much. And my mom needs help with rent. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if I join the military, I can help her pay rent. I can, help do something with my family and, do all those things. I ended up joining the military at 22 because I did stay back a little bit. I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was crazy. It was so crazy. Yeah. So I ended up joining the military, and then, I'm sorry, not 22, 24. So I leave Hawaii at 22. I go and I live in Illinois, and I'm there for about 2 years. And my sister's there, and my mother's there, and we're, hanging out and having a good time. My sister decides she's going to join the Army. She joins the Army. I think she's like 19 or 18 at the time. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? My baby sister doing all these great things. Like, I need to do something. So she ended up, convincing me to join. I joined the military, and I was there for about, I did basic training, did AIT. So about total 4 months of all the training, throwing grenades, learning how to, manhandle an M16, a 50 cal, AT4, driving different vehicles, and doing clearing rooms, how to draw blood, how to see if a lung was collapsed, like all these crazy, outrageous things. I was like, whoa, this is cool. This is great. I'm like, all right. So yeah, but I'm like a soldier now, and I'm doing great things for my country. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get to my AIT area, which is called Advanced Individual Training. So this is where my job is and what I'm training for. And I tell them that I want to be airborne, which means you're going to jump out of planes and do like secret missions, do all these cool things. And I was like, this is going to be amazing. So I originally signed up to do that. There was like a long waiting list, and I didn't want to be like a holdover or waiting any longer. So they said, okay, when we get to your first duty station, just tell them what you want to do. You want to go airborne. And I was like, that's the plan. I'm like, okay. And I told the lady, I was also telling her that I also want to play soccer for my country. Like, how do I do that? She's like, well, just try out for the team and let them know. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking in my head, all right, I'm going to do airborne. I'm going to be, playing for my country. I'm going to be defending my country. I'm doing all these great things for my country.
Doing all these cool things.
This is what I'm
and
thinking.
You're helping the country. Yeah.
This is what I'm thinking that's going to definitely happen. Like, that's what's happening. So I get to my main duty station. I'm there for 1 month and 9 days. And they tell me, as soon as I get on there, I remember I was riding in a car, and his name was Sergeant Ramirez. And I was telling him, I was like, hey, tell him what I wanted to do. And he's like, well, your main unit just got deployed. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, they're getting deployed, and you're attached to that unit. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, well, we're training you to go to Iraq. I'm like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, that's not even what I asked for. I'm like, like, I don't think so. So I ended up going to Iraq. As soon as I got to so I was literally in the military for 4 months. 4 months. All my training, everything I had to do. Now I have to like implement it into real life scenarios.
And you go to Iraq.
And I go to Iraq and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I hope I paid attention well enough. Like, I don't know if this was the right decision. This is like, I did this to myself. And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm like 24. I'm going to fight for my country now. And I've had like, to me, minimum training to be like a killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I can even do this. So I start having like crazy panic attacks. I start like having really bad anxiety. And then I find out which area I'm going to be going to. And it's called Fob Echo. And Fob Echo is it's a military installation. It's a base. And they were known for getting like tons of action, lots of mortars, there's bombs, there's infiltration, there's all these things. And I'm like, I am so scared. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it back alive. I'm like, I might not make it back alive, And then this is when YouTube was, it's always popular.
Oh, no.
Like I was really looking in it and watching it. So I'm on there looking Fob Echo and I'm watching incoming bombs. People were screaming, people were crying. I'm like, wow, like this is really happening. So long story short, ended up going to Fob Echo, which was 86 miles south of Baghdad. I go there, and when I get there, we don't have too much action. I think they had some like months. I think it was like in July is when they had the last incoming stuff that was going on. So I'm there from September, October, November, and then around November is when we start seeing, action. We get mortared. We get somebody or something tried to get on the base. So there was like activity on one of the main gates. I think it was the north gate. There's a bunch of stuff. We got hit with a huge mortar. It shook everything. Everybody was screaming and crying. It was insane. And it's just like the movies, how loud it is and like the ground is shaking. I was so scared.
How did you process all, like, I mean, the fact that your training was literally 4 months and then and then you looked it up on YouTube, which didn't help anyone, I'm sure.
It was insane. Yeah. Let's say February, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, about 4 or 5 months. But yeah, it was very scary. So after that happened, I was under a lot of stress, of course, because you never know when the next mortar is going to hit. And we had a system. I don't know what the system's called, but it's like a protecting system. So when something comes up in the air, this alarm is supposed to go off, and it gives you a certain time, like a time frame, to know, like at least 30 seconds ahead of time to know, like there's incoming coming. You can run or you can hide or do whatever. Go to a bunker.
Where do you even go though? A bunker?
You go to a bunker, but the system was broken. Yeah. So there was like no system that would work. And then, or it was when it did happen, like it was too late. It was something, it wasn't working properly. And I remember there was another time I was in the shower and I was thinking to myself, that would be so crazy if, something happened while I was in the shower, like, and that's what happened. I remember, hearing noises and the little container was shaking around in the shower, and I'm like, oh my God, I had soap in my hair, I had soap everywhere. I'm like running out, putting a towel on, and I coming down the little stairs, and I open up the door, and my roommate and she has my gun and she's holding it up, and she's like, we're getting hit right now. And I'm like, oh my God. So I've got my M16, I'm running with no shoes, no nothing, just a towel. And I remember sitting down in the dirt in the bunker just thinking, oh my God, this is crazy. And I'm like, wow, like, I don't know if I'm going to make it out alive, but I did. Made it out alive. And then
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, it was insane. But I'm grateful that I was able to experience those things. And it definitely taught me a lot about like stress and how much I can endure and what can I do with this type of stress and different outlets and resources for that. And I don't know, it was an interesting experience to say the least.
Yeah. I can't imagine. So how long were you deployed, if that's the proper terminology?
Yeah, I was only deployed for 5 months because I ended up getting sick with a very rare and aggressive cancer. in my left leg. So I got this cancer out of nowhere. I had it for maybe a month. And
Yeah, how did you know?
The craziest thing is, okay, so during this time, it was like December timeframe. And I know I'm getting a PT test, which is a physical training test. You run and sit-ups and crunches and push-ups and stuff. So in order to get if you get a 300, you get days off. And during this time that's like the max you can get on this physical training test for the Army. So during this time, I was so exhausted. Like, no matter how much rest I got, I was just so tired. And I found out that during that time in December was when I was experiencing one of the symptoms of sarcoma. It's just extreme fatigue. So it was like growing in my body. But I thought I was just so tired because I was in the middle of a war zone. I'm away from my family. You know, we're getting hit all the time. And I'm just like mentally bogged down. So that's what I thought it was. But it was probably that, and cancer was like manifesting in my body. So in January, I'd been working out a bunch. And I decided to lay back, and I pull my left leg up to my chest, and I see like a little lump sticking out of my leg. Didn't think anything of it because I'm only 24 and I played my whole life. I'm thinking I'm really healthy. Like, maybe I pulled a muscle, maybe I did something weird because I'm training really hard. You know, maybe it's something like
thoughts,
that. Yeah. Just thinking, who knows, because I thought people who got cancer were those who were older, like much older, and then had like really bad habits. Like, they smoked and they drank and they did drugs, and, and I'm I'm cut up, I'm like really lean, I'm in shape, I'm running like miles and miles, I'm doing so great. So it never dawned on me that this thing in my leg was cancer. So that's how I ended up discovering it. Was one day I was stretching and I saw this lump sticking out of my leg. Had I not been doing that, I probably wouldn't have known, because it was really buried deep inside like my leg hip cavity area. But it was insane. It was totally insane.
Oh my God, I can't imagine. Because especially like being so healthy. And I think, I mean, even right now with all this, my like gastro-y stuff, I'm like, you don't know. And that's like the thing, like, and knock on wood, hopefully I don't have anything, but like, it's scary to think, because you look in these rooms and you see all these older people and you're like, well, that's not me.
Yeah.
And it just, it was. So you go through, how did the treatment go? Like, was it, oh my God, we need to get this out right now?
Yes. It was really bad. So when I was getting all the biopsies done, before they had told me what type of cancer it was in Germany, because I had bounced around so many different places to find out exactly what was going on. The doctor in Germany said to me, let's just hope and pray it's not sarcoma, Ewing sarcoma. And I'm like, oh, what is that? Like, what? I've never heard of sarcoma. I didn't even know you could get cancer in your leg.
Yeah, I thought like
breast cancer, stomach cancer, like brain cancer, lung cancer, like throat cancer, all the stuff that I've heard before, but you can get cancer anywhere. I never knew that. In your arms and your legs, like, who gets cancer there? I don't know, me. So I ended up getting this cancer, and he said to me, let's hope and pray it's not Ewing sarcoma. And I'm like, okay. So then a couple days later, they come back, they tell me it's Ewing sarcoma cancer. And he was just basically saying, like, this is a death sentence and you're not going to live, and, get everything ready, prepare everything, get all your orders and your affairs in order. So
you're 24.
Everyone literally thought I was going to die. I would have a priest come in all the time and he would pray for me. I'd have the, what's his name? The chaplain guy would come in, just people praying over me all the time. It was just insane. Making sure that my will was updated, because everyone thought I was like, they were writing me off for sure. They did not think I was going to live. And the cancer, so when they find out it's Ewing sarcoma, it's in my leg, and it didn't metastasize, thank God, because if it does, it goes to your brainstem, your lungs, and your spinal cord, like all these really critical areas. So they were just kind of like, they don't know what's going to happen because they've never had anybody who had Ewing sarcoma. They've read it in a textbook. So nobody even knows that if I'm going to live, if the treatment's going to work, and no one's ever operated on a case or had a case. Until this day, they've never had anybody. And I've reached out last year to talk to the hospital and talk to the doctor that saved my life and stuff. And they've never had anybody. So it's like, it's so rare. A lot of people, they don't get it. They don't. And then when you do get it, they're really scared because the type of cancer manifests and it goes everywhere. And luckily mine did not, metastasize. It just stayed localized. Thank goodness. But yeah,
Wow.
they really thought I was dying.
Oh
They were
my
going to have
God.
to cut my leg off.
And you were so, athletic, and you were in the military and like all this stuff. And so your body is your life, because I mean, you're running and you're working out. How did you feel mentally when they're like, hey, you're never going to run again. You might not live. Like,
Right. I was
what
so
happened?
scared. I don't know how to explain it. It's like a very surreal feeling to like know that you might die. Not that you might, because people were telling me I was gonna die. So knowing that I was gonna die, I was just really scared, and I was really upset that I was gonna be dying. So I had a nephew, and he was 2 or 3 at the time, that I was gonna leave this earth. He was not gonna get to know me. We weren't gonna have any relationships. Like, he was going to know nothing about me. There's no memories, nothing. So I was really more upset that I was going to be leaving my little nephew. I'm not going to watch him play soccer or basketball, or, we're not going to have a relationship. We're going to have nothing because he's not going to remember anything. So I was really, really upset and hurt about that. So I created a journal, and the journal was dedicated to him. So we had kind of just like documented everything that was going on, and how he was, how I was feeling, how sorry I was for leaving so soon. And if it was up to me, I would stay. And, I wish him so much great, just telling him how much I loved him. And then I remember one day, like sitting in the bed, and it had been like a month and 2 months. I was going through treatment. My hair is gone. I'm already sick. I'm not feeling well, but I like made a choice in my mind. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this happen. Like, I'm not gonna give up on myself. I know no one believes in me. I know that the doctors have never seen a case like this, but I'm going to be a miracle. I don't know how this is going to happen. And I was like, if I get to live, I'm going to change this journal into an actual book. Wow. And that's what I did. Years later, but I ended up coming up with a book called The Enemy Inside Me. Of course, I had to make it tailored to an actual book, and not so much of like a diary journal. But yeah, I that really also kept me like living. I had something to live for. Like, I looked forward to making entries and writing something for him, and hopefully living it out to make it a book. So I had several different little things that I felt like really helped me live, or helped me look forward to the next day. I went out and bought a car. I did a bunch of crazy stuff. But
And you're here.
I'm here. I had to figure it out. I mean, it was really hard. It was hard. I cried all the time. I thought I was going to die. It was just, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
So going through, I can't even imagine. And when you're talking about your nephews, I got chills, because like, that's something that a 24-year-old or anyone ever you shouldn't have to be thinking about that. And cancer is scary. Cancer is a very scary thing. And even to this day, I'm sure is it gone? Are you cured, so to speak?
I am cured. It is gone. So with this type of cancer, if you make it to your 5-year mark, you're basically cleared. Like, it shouldn't be coming back. The success rates are higher when we've lived out past the 5 years. So I'm at my 12-year mark, and I'm pretty sure I beat it. I think I'm safe. But yeah, I get tons of checkups, and it's different. So I thought, once cancer's over, it's out of my body, treatment is done, like I can, return back to the old Brandi. And the thing is that you're a different person. You just experienced like a traumatic event, a life-altering event. Your body has endured all these different things. You have different memories now. Your whole concept of life is totally different. And I didn't realize that like survivorship is still like a continuing saga forever. It's like, it's never ending. You have to get tons of doctor's appointments. Every time I get something wrong with me, I always think it's cancer, just because before I didn't think it was anything. And I'm like, if I get like a lump on my arm, or my elbow is hurting, like, I'm like, oh my God, I hope it's not bone cancer. I always think it's something. And I have the worst PTSD from it now, but it's made me really aware of my body, of like, what's going on? How do I feel? Am I tired? Why am I tired? What have I been doing? Am I eating correct? But it's just totally changed the whole trajectory of my life, just in general. being a survivor now. So, but I think I'm cured. I do.
Well, you were doing so many incredible things, and now you're doing a lot of speaking engagements. So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So I do lots of speaking globally. I had an event in India last year. Things got canceled because, the coronavirus, but I do speaking engagements about overcoming the enemy inside you. And the enemy inside you is a metaphor for something that's not allowing you to be the best version of yourself. And I believe that everybody has this elite version inside of themselves. We all can be this miracle story. We all can have this inspiration that's like deep, deep down inside of us. And it's up to us to bring it out and dig it out. And you really don't know how strong you are until strength is all that you have left. When everything is gone and it's just you and your mind and your will to live or to surpass something, beautiful things are created out of stress and out of that environment. But so I talk about defeating the enemy inside you. And again, just overcoming adversity. And during that time, the enemy was cancer that was in my body. Mm-hmm.
Now that you're past that stage, do you think you have any more enemies left inside?
I do. So it's self-doubt. There's insecurities about certain things. So I have a huge, 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 huge portion missing out of my leg. Huge, massive. So my entire adductor muscle, which is, they took about 6 pounds out of muscle out of my leg, and it's really big. I don't know how to, it's at least a foot long. So they took this huge muscle out of my leg. So literally one leg is thick, healthy. The other one's really thin and frail and skinny. So that's a huge insecurity that I have, but I have to make peace with it because at least I have my leg, that this part of my life, at least, so I have to be happy and grateful for that because it could have been something drastically different. So, but that is something that I will always constantly have some sort of insecurity about, but, I just have to accept it.
What advice do you have for people who are struggling with their own enemy inside?
Definitely do some thinking inwardly, figure out what the root cause of that is. What is it that's making you feel the way you feel if you don't like it? What is, explore it, do some self-exploration. Going to therapy is huge. Having a support group or going to a support group, that's so important to be around people who are experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing, because nothing is more annoying or less valuable or valued is when somebody who doesn't understand what you're going through, and they would say to me, Brandi, I understand what you're going through. And I'd be like, I don't think you do. I don't think you understand, what I'm actually going through. So when I would meet other cancer patients or individuals that went through something similar to me, and they would give me advice and they would tell me things, it would resonate. So having a support system or support group or therapy, speaking and talking it out is also super critical. So just using resources and asking for help is huge. And I'm a big advocate on that. I think people should continuously express themselves and figure out why they're feeling certain ways. Talk it out. You don't have to feel alone because there's so many people here that feel the same way.
It's so true, especially right now in this time when we all feel, isolated and alone. People are having all these negative thoughts. And it's like, how do you overcome that? And
right.
Something we all need to be more aware of.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
As far as everything else you're doing, do you have anything exciting coming up? Do you want people to know anything in particular?
So I have an event coming up with the Sarcoma Foundation of America. I just was presented with the Courage Award. So that is coming up October 2nd.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know, I can't believe it. I was like, wow, out of all the people, thank you. So I have that coming up. I have a really cool event coming up with Savannah College of Art and Design. One of their keynote speakers for that event that's coming up. And gosh, I don't have my calendar on me. I got a couple of interviews coming up. Got a couple of things, but yes.
So you're making a difference, clearly. And you're here for a reason.
I hope I am making a difference because that is important. And my goal is to, of course, spread awareness about sarcoma in general, because really nobody knows about that cancer, let alone like pronouncing it correctly. I used to pronounce it wrong. And just explaining to people that we're all amazing and we're great, and just loving yourself. Like self-love is super important. So important. Like you really knew that. And then it's really important because if, say like you're a burn victim, or you have a huge chunk missing out of your leg, or you don't look like everybody else, you know, you feel defeated. You don't feel good about yourself. And everything starts with accepting yourself and having self-love. So just having that and spreading that message is super important. And I think I need to continuously and keep, you know, reiterating that, because the world needs to hear that it's important to have that.
And I saw that video on your website, and I watched it probably like 4 times about your story. That was intense.
God.
People need to watch that, because I saw that and I was like, damn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
That is powerful.
Yeah. I have some people who don't like it. They're like, oh, Brandi, you know, we watched the video. They're like, it's a little, you know, they didn't like the leg part, I guess, but yeah.
I thought it was powerful. And
I thought it was powerful too. I'm like, that's what we're missing. We're missing authentic. We're missing real. We're missing what's really going on. What does it really look like? What does it really feel like? You can't always candy coat everything, because that's not how life is. You know, this is how I'm living. This is what happened. This is what my leg went through. This is what, you know, this is the final product of everything. You know, you have to be real and authentic, and let people know that, yes, you might be faced with this horrific adversity. However, you can still overcome it and become something amazing and leave a legacy, possibly. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you were leaving a great legacy, and you still got a lot of time. So hopefully, because the world needs you. So
yes.
I really appreciate you being on and talking with me, and hopefully this is the first of many. And I can't wait to see you speak in person.
I know, it's gonna be cool. I'm also doing it's something called the Wounded Warrior Games, and then the Paralympics that's coming up. I was training for that, but the coronavirus, you know.
Hopefully that'll just go away and we can all resume, because God knows we need it.
Be bold, be you, be blatantly honest.